Welcome back, everyone. Toy Shiz here, and today I got a little something extra special for us. A little bit of a early look, one would say, courtesy of my friends over at Heroic Signatures. We're going to be checking out their upcoming Conan the Cimmerian as he appears in Battle of the Black Stone. There is gorgeous artwork all over the box. That comes courtesy of Rob de la Tour, based off the current Conan comic run. But from front to back, the colors pop. It just makes for a nice display piece for those of you that won't be opening this. Although, why? Why would you not open this? It is, in fact, a slipcase cover, though, which reveals Conan himself. So you get a nice window box packaging. It says Battle of the Black Stone right there. Nice artwork. At least you get to see him in the box. Again, if you don't choose to open him. On the back side, though, is a nice write-up, which you could totally pause and read up on old Conan. The box will tell you that this is a highly detailed action figure, fully interchangeable parts and accessories in a 1/12 scale. And it includes a bunch of weapons, which we will take a look at in full detail. Here is everyone involved with the creation of this figure, so thank you very much for that. There are two versions. You have the standard edition, which will set you back $65, and you have the deluxe edition, which is $75. And I'll show you the difference between what you get between both versions. The pre-orders are up now. I'll put the link down in the description below for those of you who are interested. But in the meantime, let's see if you even want to order this sucker, right? That's what's most important. So sit back, relax, grab yourself a nice hot cup of coffee. This is a look at the brand new Conan the Cimmerian as he appears in Battle of the Black Stone by Heroic Signatures. And just before we get started, I want to say a quick thank you to everyone who continues to watch my YouTube channel. And if you haven't already, please do consider subscribing. Why? Well, we talk about old toys, we talk about new toys, like Conan here. We have daily news updates, and I guarantee you'll find something here that you like. All right, so now here's everything taken out of the packaging. This is the deluxe version for Conan, which, while it comes with a deluxe price, you get a few extra weapons that the standard edition doesn't come with, such as Dark Agnes's sword, Solomon Keynes' staff, El Borak's tulwar, Conrad's pistol, and Brisa's spear. So all of those are extra to this deluxe version. But you still get things like these two shirts. So you get multiple looks for Conan. You can have one where his shirt's all torn, and that's got some nice designs to it. And then you have more of a vest, and each one simply just slides over the figure as such. So it's really easy peasy. It's kind of old school, but I totally dig that. So these are very gummy sort of style shirts, which go on the figure very easy, and I'll show you all that in just a few. As the bonus weapons, you get the pistol, which I have to say, this looks a little funky right here with this large area, but overall the gun is fine. It has little details on it, so not too shabby. You get the staff with the cat's head on it. That's cool, nicely done. Has a little bit of a wash to it. You get these two extra swords. That's nicely done. One of them has gold with a silver blade. This sword with more of this black darkness snake looking wrapped around the handle. That's cool. And then it goes into a silver blade. But this one right here is pretty integral. This is more of a spear slash staff. It just looks cool with Conan. You got a little bit of a feather action going on. The blade, nice handle, wrappings, and everything is painted beautifully on that. You get two battle axes. This is what I want to see with my Conan figures. One of them is caked in blood. That's cool. Totally dig that. And then you have a more clean cut. I haven't gone to hacking limbs off just yet. This is the one that I could see myself totally displaying Conan with. You also get the sword and the scabbard. This pops out as such. And what I like is that I've done this a few times. There hasn't been any paint scrapage, nothing like that. You can see the sword has a little bit of indentations from clanging against other swords. You got a little gold, little wrapping, a little brown. That's nice to see. And then you have all the wrappings of the sheath right here, and the little clip which hooks on to Conan's belt. And yes, with all the weapons, Conan has hands for days. Fisted hands, open hands. He even has a trigger finger hand for the gun if you get the deluxe version. So like I said, if you got weapons, he's got the hands to hold them. And wouldn't you know it, you can take off his boots and have Conan be barefooted if you'd like. So there you go. For all you photographers out there, or maybe you got some feet fetishes out there, hey, you know, I'm not judging. Then, of course, you got some extra head portraits, extra hair, extra helmets, that sort of dealio. This head portrait is pretty cool. He just looks mean. He looks ferocious. You can pull the helmet off. You can see how it kind of plugs into the hair right there. And then, which I appreciate, is that all of the hair, all of the helmets are swappable. The one thing to point out, though, as they'd like me to tell you, is that on the teeth right here, which I actually like, they're more of like a yellowish kind of color. They're going to whiten those up. For me, I think about a barbarian. I don't think about him brushing his teeth where he needs to use some crest whitening strips, that kind of deal. So I would just keep it like that. Some of you may disagree, but I totally dig it. That just simply slips into there, so you get various looks, which you can clearly see looks pretty cool. But I like that you can swap out all the hairs, all the helmets, for the most part. The thing that you're going to run into is that, we'll say with this helmet, these aren't really going to connect all too well. You can kind of fudge it in there, but then his billowy hair combined with the billowiness of the helmets, and then you can just plug the hair in the head. It doesn't really fit all too well, but at least you can just swap out the hair if need be. Now to look at the actual Conan figure, if you had it just like this, that's a pretty cool looking Conan. I like that they went above and beyond with the musculature, the detail. They really bring the artwork to life. And that's not usually something you see with a lot of, we'll say, lower priced action figures, at least for the price point they're at, which is expensive. But if you're in the market for a Conan figure, this ain't too shabby, I'll tell you that. So with the head portrait, which this is the one that I definitely like. I just think that it's more of a solemn face, and then when you want to put him into a battle position, you got the more grit and teeth. Although I would have liked to have seen one more where it's a full-on mouth open yelling sort of deal, like he's just gonna rip right into whatever enemy he is battling. He's got some butterfly joints which allow him to do the whole proper holding of the axes and the swords and everything else. You can kind of do a two-handed thing. The arms, though, we'll say this, you kind of have to get used to them and how they move around. I would say that, and I don't mind this gappage right here because it is an action figure, but in terms of musculature, the shoulders, when you have him just in kind of a normal position, they look kind of sloped or small, we'll just say that. And then that goes more into the elbows, which are single jointed, but they behave like double joints. The only hang up I would say is that this elbow piece right here is kind of funky. Not when it's straight up and down just like that, but when you go to move it, it's always got this little flappy bit sticking out. And then when you really try to move the arm, then you have to deal with that. So it's not ideal, it's not terrible, it's just not great, if anything. We'll just say that. You get plenty of mobility in the ab crunch. You get them going all the way over, off to the side, back, waist. The waist is cool. He's got belly button, he's got abs for days. He's got his loincloth. They have painted all of the little elements. Right here on his belt is where you'll slip in the sword. Easy peasy. It just clips into that belt loop, and there you go. You have Conan holding the sword. Now, this leg will kick all the way out. Pretty good rotation all the way up. He has some, we'll say, thigh, which you can move around at your leisure. He's got double jointed knees, all of which are pinless. And then he has his boots, which I'll show you right here. So the feet work great. They move up and down. You got the toes, those go up and down. But what I don't like is that when you see the elements of the boot and then you move the feet, you see his flesh color of the feet, so that when you pull the boot off and everything else, you can have him be barefoot. I would almost have rather had that be a separate peg, which you can swap at your leisure if you want the boots or if you want the barefoot. It just really stands out. Now, I know some people are going to go, well, you can just move the boot and have the flaps cover it. Yes and no. Sometimes when you move it and you push it down, sure, you could do that. But you're always going to see it no matter what. So a different colored peg would have been appreciated. He does have peg holes on the bottom of these feet, so just keep that in mind as opposed to the barefoot. But from top to bottom, left to right, with all the musculature, with all the paint, the shading, everything else, yeah, I would say this is a great looking Conan figure. If you're in the market for a Conan, look no further. Just be really careful when you want to swap the heads, as I have pulled this off, and in doing so, the necklace decided to go with it. And I swear I would have lost this had I not noticed it, because it fell on the carpet. I didn't even realize until I go, oh my god, yeah, he has a necklace. So just keep that in mind. But swapping the heads are really easy peasy. You just get that going down, make sure you got your appropriate helmet and the hair, and we'll get to loading this guy up with all the weapons. Now, really quick, as a heads up to heroic signatures, before these Conan figures go out, you need to make sure that the belt loops on the belt that hold the sword sheath are thoroughly intact, because in slipping it out, slipping it on, the part that buckles in came off, essentially. It's glued in, so nothing tore. That's what I immediately thought, because it's plastic, but that needs to be a lot more secure, so that is a heads up to you guys as well in clipping the sword sheath onto Conan's belt. That all being said, though, when you have all the hands and all the weapons and the various hair and the various helmets, you can achieve a really gorgeous looking Conan figure on your shelf. He looks mighty, he looks powerful, and I like that you can get so many various looks for him. So many various weapons, from the different shirts, shirtless, spears, all the articulation. You can get him into a crouching position. That's fun. That looks pretty cool. So there's really no problemos with all of that combined. If you give him a flight stand, you give him an axe, sword and sheath, sheath on belts, as long as it doesn't pop off, it looks awesome. He's flying through the air. He's just chopping heads left and right. So yeah, it definitely makes for a cool figure. Now, just to kind of show you the scaling, as I was originally asked not to display him with Red Sonja, I did have plans to do that. He does go well with other fantasy characters. I could at least show you Marvel Legends for you Marvel fans out there if you want to put him with Spider-Man and all the other Savage Avengers. So below McFarlane Toys, right around NECA Toys, a little bit bigger than Marvel Legends, just to kind of give you a heads up as to what you're dealing with scale-wise. So that's going to wrap it up for my quick first look at the brand new Heroic Signatures Conan the Cimmerian from Battle of the Black Stone. As I said, with all the various portraits and the hairs and the helmets and the torn shirts and everything that you can equip him with, it makes for a mighty Conan figure. It's going to be on the higher end. It's a more of a higher end figure, though. The articulation is pretty solid. Couple gripes here and there. Fix that belt, and I'd say you'd be a-okay to pick this sucker up. And I'll put a link down in the description below for those interested. Thank you again to my friends over at Heroic Signatures for sending this out. And until the next one, I will leave you guys with that. Adios.